I think that shouldn't be a problem. Maybe a little further. Who knows? All right. Let's get this scroll going on here since we are down in the P's. Oh, of course, this is S, technically. Sorry, not P's, S. There we go. Okay. Hey, Skins. Try refreshing if that doesn't work. I've had situations before where that's happened to me. Hey, Lodge and Dolphin. I'm getting there. I've got two main. I've got that one here, all the way down to the floor, and then one more next to it with another full set. And then we're finishing up the DS and 3DS games down there. And then we're done. And I can start playing some of these games. Alright, so picking up where we left off. Super Princess Peach. Everything's here, but a few dings on the top of the cover. So, but we're close to being done with the. Me too, Lodging Dolphin. Me too. And it should make it a whole lot easier for you guys to, for you to like request something, so you'll know what I have, which is nice. Plus, I want to get the computer like out of this setup where I've got it jammed in the closet, because I don't want to keep taking it back and forth between here and there. So this just makes it a whole lot easier. Plus, some of the games I could just end up bringing this in here and potentially just running it off of the TVs I've got in this room. So that'll be cool. Game box manual, normal wear. Alright, Super Princess Peach. This is one that will most likely not be in there. But Japanese Taiko Drum Master DS. I don't know if that's exactly what it says, but that's what it is. Taiko Drum Master is, I mean, that's not exactly what it says. It says, what is it? How do you say that? Taito no Tatsujin. I believe that's it. Hey, Pinball Undesirables. How you doing, man? So, this won't be in there. But we'll have a look anyway, because you never know. No Taito, no Tatsujin there. Let's try Taiko Drum Master. And that's obviously that's not there either. Okay, so that's fine. I've got it. All right. Tetris DS. It's an old classic one. It's actually one where I ended up losing the game cart. I lost 3 game carts. I used to keep... When I travel a lot of times, what I'll do is I have a bunch of these little 3-pack game cart guys, and I would put my games in here when I travel to kind of keep them better organized and safe, so they weren't in, like, just nowhere. And apparently I lost one of these sets of 3 because I had 3 games that went missing, and I've looked everywhere, and it probably won't be until I move out or something that I'll end up coming across finding that 3-pack. So someday. But anyway, I've rebought all those games already anyway, so luckily they weren't crazy expensive. They were just, it's not easy to find the loose copies of some of these without paying a ridiculous price. It's like, okay, $14.51 loose, $15 complete, but I just want the disc. So, is the case worth 50 cents in this case? I mean, I guess so. It was a little annoying, to say the least. Upset that I had lost 3 games in 1. Alright. New international track and field. There was a track and field game on the GBA, which was actually pretty good. And this is alright. It's, you know, touch screen, minigame action. This is probably under N for new instead of track and field, although I keep it under T for track and field. I should probably keep it under N for new, but, you know, sometimes you just got to make the decision. Alright, next up is a series that I do enjoy. Trauma Center, Under the Knife. This is the original. Came out on the DS. Fits it well, doing surgery with a stylus. It gets difficult, I will say that. Trauma Center. To the point where I don't think I ever beat this game because of its difficulty spike that it has later on. Needless to say, though, it is a fun game. There's a hair too much dialogue for my liking. Because you just want to get back into the action. Because playing the missions is fun. And then you have to deal with a bunch of dialogue. Not that there's anything wrong with dialogue, it's just that it's not like the type of dialogue where I'm getting really invested or anything, so. Trauma Center Under the Knife 2. Hey, Proof Gold. Yes, I am, sir. Yes, I am. Look, we're probably over the halfway point. I've been doing this for a little while. Proof. Trey. It's all there. I think this is like part 8. RIP. What happened? You can never trust when anybody types RIP in a chat just because it makes you think that your stream died. And according to this, my stream hasn't died. So, I have no idea. Alright, next up is WarioWare Touched. The DS WarioWare series entry. If you've played WarioWare games, you know what it's all about. And here it is now with touching stuff. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's good. It's fun. I never did pick up WarioWare DIY, do it yourself. It was like make your own WarioWare games. I don't know why, it just never really struck me to get that one. But I do have this one. And I do like that this one's more orange. That one appears to be the European one, based on that right there. And they apparently got yellow. Orange looks a little slicker in my opinion. Not a problem, Proof. Alright, here's a good game that I never finished. I probably only got a little ways, a slightly medium ways in, I guess. And it's one I probably should go back and play more. But, The World Ends With You. Hard to even know how to describe this game. Wake up, shaken up, plastered on asphalt phones, can't block the voices of the masses. 7 days left between you and death. Better race, place. Reapers won't give up the chase. Combine forces with teammates, use pins to unleash devastating fusion attacks, explore the streets of the Shibuya district. You have 7 days. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then what does? I should beat that game. I know, there's a lot of games I should beat. So is this under T for the or W for world? It's probably under the, because this is stupid sometimes. Or not. Or maybe it's just world ends with you. World ends with you, of course. This really isn't that expensive of a game either for as good as it is. See, there you go. Best DS game. Boom. I'll probably just need to throw it in my baggie of games that I take with me when I travel, to be honest. Alright, next one. Here's one that I actually do have in my baggie. Worms 2 Open Warfare. This is one that, see, the game's missing. It's actually pretty good. If you like Worms, it's just classic 2D Worms action. And it plays well. I mean, you kind of wish you had a bigger, you know, screen and tighter controls, but you know what? It gets the job done, that's for sure. So, hey Zentron, how you doing, man? I would travel, I wouldn't say a lot, but when I travel, for work at least, I would travel for a long period at a time. Many times I go to Asia, and I'll be there for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. So, that'll eat up a lot of time. And then obviously traveling to Asia gives you a lot of time on a plane. In Asia, I'll spend a lot of time in the room, and it's kind of nice to kick back with the game once in a while. Alright, yet another version of this game, even though this is actually, no, this is, yeah, slight modifications, but Yoshi's Island DS. I'm a big fan of Yoshi's Island. And just, here's more of enjoying that type of game. Surprised my girlfriend isn't Asian. Why is that? I'm not really the type of person that's as into that as some people are. Yoshi's Island DS. That's right, Trey. Mostly China and Korea. Alright, here's an early, not necessarily launch title, but very early title for the DS. That you got because there wasn't a lot to get, and you tell yourself that there's more game here than there really is. That'd be Yoshi Touch and Go. Yeah, it's some serious travel. I'm well past the honeymoon stage in that travel as well, so I've already worn out any of the cool sites that you go to or things that you do that are fun. It all just feels like old. So all that's worn well off a long time ago. And the last game in my DS collection is Zookeeper. Just a good old-fashioned match 3 style game or Puyo game, but with animal faces. Let's get this one in there. Actually, stickers, normal wear. Thank you, GameStop. I do get the frequent flyer miles, so usually, and I'd only go to Asia once to maybe twice max a year, but when you go there for that long, that's still pretty brutal. Just depends on what the needs are of work, and it would I'd get the miles, and usually what I'd be able to do is every Christmas I would go home back to the Detroit area, and the miles would be enough to get myself a free flight out of it. Although Delta has made it more and more difficult to spend miles economically, so you don't really get the bang for your buck that you used to out of frequent flyer miles, which is a shame. Work feels like work, yes. Spend long days in a factory in industrial parts of China while being on the complete opposite side of the world, so you're jet lagged for like a solid week before you finally catch up. The food isn't all that great. You end up making sure you don't want to get sick. If you're there in the summer, it's super duper hot. If you're there in the winter, it's actually not as bad. There's plenty of smog and pollution to keep you busy. It's basically like traveling to Silent Hill filmed in hell. So yeah. Anyway, if anybody's out there curious, I can do a quick little... So we're done with the original DS. That covers that. I can go to the collection. I haven't posted this in a little while in the chat. Boop. So if you want to have a gander at my collection as it sits right now, there's still plenty left to enter, but there you go, there's a link to it. Yeah, I can really sell it, that's right. Trust me, it's nothing exciting. Alright, next up will be the 3DS games. And Skins, if you're out there, I don't know, are you out there, Skins? No, you're not. So I will catch up with you later, man. Alright, here we go. 3DS games. First up is Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. I was trying not to buy this game because it's not really something I'll put much time on, but at the end of the day I ended up not being able to resist, and I got it anyway because, yeah, I have no shame. And I do really like the Animal Crossing world. So by no surprise, the next game there is Animal Crossing New Leaf. And I played my fair share of New Leaf, that is for sure. And I look forward to the next real Animal Crossing game. I think putting one on the Switch would be definitely a good choice. But yeah, time will tell. Maybe we'll be lucky and maybe we'll see a trailer or something at E3. That'd be cool. Probably not this year. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if it wasn't until next year. I do want to say one thing though, and that is I really like the binding on 3DS games. Nintendo once again went with a standardized binding, and they did this cool little thing where it's got the, you know, system name, the game name, and then right there's a little icon which is different on every game and kind of gives you a little image of something to do with the game. So this one is a little red Animal Crossing leaf with a little house in it. Animal Crossing is a little green Animal Crossing leaf, and every game has that. So when the carts are all stacked up like this on the shelf, you get these nice little images that go along with the games. I appreciate little things like that sometimes. Animal Crossing certainly is not for everybody, Trey. So, I guess I played it at the right time in my life, so it was able to click with me, and I think you kind of need the right experience to be able to appreciate Animal Crossing for what it is. And it's a time burner, but it's a fun little time burner, and it's a nice relaxing game that doesn't really do much other than what it does, and it does that well, which is just to be something to play and keep you happy. Alright, next up is Bravely Default. And the little icon on this one is just a black square that says Bravely Default. Nothing too crazy on this one, but that wasn't the point. The game's in my little box bag of games. Okay, I don't even know if this will be in here. Maybe, yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Next one I've got is Cave Story 3D. This is a game that I always heard good things about, and I never actually got around to playing it on any of the other systems it was on. But it was available on the 3DS, so I picked it up when I had a chance with it. Bravely Second is better. I thought I've always heard the opposite, that Bravely Second wasn't as good as the first one. So here we go, Cave Story 3D. And I still have this one sealed. I was able to buy it brand new. Actually got that from MagFest. And as a fan, alright, so we got that one. That one's in there. Next up is Chibi Robo Ziplash. I'm a sucker for Chibi Robo. He is adorable. So I couldn't not get this, regardless of how good and or bad the game was. And it was in the middle. I played it for a while. It's kind of standard platformer action without a whole lot of challenge, but the amiibo is adorable. Which is coming to Switch? Chibi Robo or Cave Story? There's Chibi Robo doing his thing. I got some delay action, so sometimes it's tough for me to determine which game you guys might be referencing if you make comments. But we can work through that. Alright. Next game is Codename Steam, which actually is a pretty cool game. And if you've ever played XCOM, it kind of plays a bit like XCOM. Actually, a good bit like XCOM. Cave Story physical copy. Uh-oh. I know what I'll be buying. Alright. Codename Steam. Super cheap. Easy to tell you to grab this if you see it for $5. Alright, here's another one that's probably much less commonly known about. And 50% Pinball Undesirables. I think a ballpark would be 50%. A lot of them I have played. A lot of them are games that I bought when they came out, or I bought because I wanted to play them, and I played them. Then there's also a lot of games that I bought as a collector that I haven't found the time to play because I've bought so many freaking games. So it can be a mixed bag at times. Alright, so this is one, I don't know if I actually saw it from a list or I just happened to randomly run across it, but Code of Princess. Code of Princess. So, multiplane side-scrolling action mixes with RPG customization, all with a 3D twist, 50-plus playable characters, 4-player co-op or versus, side-scrolling beat them all... Oh, this is just the... Sorry. It's basically like a side-scrolling action beat 'em up slash RPG. Exactly, Pinball Undesirables. I just need to hit the lotto so I can stop working and actually play all the games that I want to play. If only. Did you play it, Trey? Code of Princess? Okay, next one. I grabbed it just because. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. I played Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and it's good. And I grabbed this so I could play this portably when I would be traveling. Nothing really more to say about it, to be perfectly honest. Pretty straightforward. It's good. I mean, if you're going to buy it on a system, I would tell you go buy it on the Wii. To Guardian Heroes for Saturn. Ah, interesting. Okay. Really? That's pretty cool. I do have Guardian Heroes on Sega Saturn. Just happens to be sitting right behind me. Alright, next up is Fire Emblem Awakening. I more recently have started to get into the Fire Emblem games. I like the gameplay more than I like all the storyline that's stuck in between the gameplay. And that's a shame because sometimes it kind of drags me down a little bit and I want to just get back into the gameplay, but then if I skip through story, then I feel like I'm probably missing something semi-important and I feel like I need to watch it, but then it runs on longer than you want it to. But the core gameplay is fun enough to make me still want to keep playing, so still easy to recommend if you enjoy turn-based strategy games. Alright, next up is Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. Oop. Yep. Hold on a second. Okay. Alright. So Fire Emblem Fates Conquest and Birthright. We'll just do Birthright first. I was not lucky enough to pick up the special pack game box manual, and I've actually still got these both new and sealed because I've been playing Awakening in theory before I would get to these two, since I was more playing catch-up with the Fire Emblem series than playing it from scratch, or playing it originally as it was happening. So I felt the need to do one before the other. You got the collector's edition of Fates? Nice. It was more of a, I didn't really have the connection with Fire Emblem beforehand to warrant me going for it, but yeah. Alright, next one is one I should play more of because I'd probably like it, but this is a launch title for the 3DS. Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. More of a another basic turn-based combat style game. And I'll guarantee this is super cheap. It's not as cheap as I thought. Yeah, it came with the third storyline, which you would have to wait and download, but that's assuming if I had been able to sink enough time into the first two games to warrant getting to that third game. Which sometimes I just gotta be honest with myself. Okay, next up is Kid Icarus Uprising, which I do have the case, bigger box. And, hey, you know what? I never actually played with these. You get Kid Icarus Uprising cards that come with it. The Ghost Recon's a hidden gem? I would say that I would believe that it is. I think I may have only played it once, and I know that I need to play it more. So one other thing is that Kid Icarus Uprising, since it's such a uncomfortable game to play, holding a 3DS came with a 3DS stand, which is included, which is why you've got this larger box going on here. And I know I have it. As for the where it is, I think it is upstairs, and I need to get it and put it back inside this box so it's where it's supposed to be. Alright, once again with the Kirby kick. Kirby Planet Robobot. Robobot. Planet Robobot. Side-scrolling, Kirby, platforming. It's good. And I do believe, yep, it's in my baggie of games to play. Alright, so let's put these back on the shelf. There we go. Okay, next up is Kirby Triple Deluxe. Once again, I have a knack for collecting Kirby games. Whether they're good or not. Although, more or less, most all are good. Alright, next up is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. This, oddly enough, this came out, was a big hit, big surprise, and then it was tough to find, as if they decided, yeah, let's make a small run of this game. But then and then the price went up, and then they made more of them, and then the price went back down. So had a hot road of That's why I'm doing this, Trey. That's why you can't help but still watch. Because for some reason it is entertaining, and it's nice for me to see. You can see where this just jumped up in price. And then it stayed up in the mid-30s for a while, and then boom, let's make some more. So then everybody got them. But yeah, it is kind of fun, and it's helpful for me to have people here to talk with while this is going on, because it just keeps me busier, and it makes it more entertaining for everybody. Otherwise, I'd be just kind of sitting here doing this mindlessly, and it wouldn't be as exciting. Hey, Goran, how's it going, man? Next up is Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Whoops. I did not get this special edition. Your birthday yesterday. Fantastic. Happy birthday, Goran. So was it the big 2-0? I do not remember. Or am I close or am I off? Alright, next up is Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds. And for me, I would rate this as one of the best Zeldas ever. I remember playing, when I played this when it came out. A little lower, but another milestone. 18 then, right? This game was just... I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And it's not like I played the 3DS that much. And I remember I could not stop playing this game to the point where I would wear the battery out of the 3DS. I went and I plugged it into the wall, and I just sat on the floor near the outlet playing this until I ended up beating it. Which, it's not super short, but it's not super long either. And it was just so good. So good. Highly recommend this game if you have not played it. Highly recommend. This would be a great entry point for anybody interested in trying out a Zelda game who hasn't before. And scalpers, yeah, it's hard. You're hard pressed to get a special edition of most anything that people know will sell for more money than what they bought it for, which sucks. Alright, next up is Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. I'm getting all the Zeldas here. I have not played this. I picked it up because I pretty much am always going to pick up the Zelda games. It's hard not to. The tricky part is having people to play it with. So I still have not even opened it. Yay. I have not, Goran. I have not. It's not in the 3DS. I will say that. Next up is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. It was awesome that Luigi's Mansion got a sequel. Always thought it was a fun game on the GameCube, and it's got so much character to the game itself. Like, it's such a great little world inside Luigi's Mansion, just being darker, but the colors are really good. Just a great looking game and fun type game too. Exactly. Dark Moon is fun. Alright, next up, of course, Mario Kart 7. Hard pressed not to pick up Mario Kart. This was a really popular Mario Kart. I don't blame it. Hey Zerto, how's it going, man? That is right, more cataloging. I want to get it all done by the end of the weekend. Alright, so here's a new one I just got not long ago and I haven't opened yet. Mario Sports Superstars on 3DS. It's easy for me to say yes. This game's got soccer, baseball, tennis, horse racing, golf. I mean, it's basically got soccer, baseball, tennis, and golf. 4 Mario sports games I all enjoy. And then they add horse racing. I mean, why would I not want to pick this up? The only thing I wish they would do is release a game like this on Switch. I would love to be able to have all those sports games on Switch as multiplayer games. Still haven't even opened it yet. But it's still new, so I'll give myself a pass on that one. Alright. Next up is Mega Man Legacy Collection on DS. First 6 Mega Mans. It's nice to have this available and portable. So if I feel like playing some Mega Man while I'm on the go, I've tossed it in and played a bit. Not much else to say about it. Worked out the past few days. Yep, that's what working out will do. It lets you know. So here's one I want to play more of, to be honest. I picked this up. I got a friend of mine to pick it up with me. He apparently didn't really like it. I did. Metroid Prime Federation Force. Playing online as cooperative through missions. I kind of like that. I enjoy it. I really enjoy the Metroid Prime universe anyway as well. So I couldn't really not get it. I felt kind of required to. I believe I've heard that rumor too, Trey. And I don't see why they wouldn't. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Alright, next one up is Monster Hunter Ultimate 4, or Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, sorry. I couldn't help but pick it up, give it a try. I was never a big Monster Hunter player. I don't necessarily think the game itself is for me. It's a little too slow and kind of requires too much co-op help, which I don't have in order to have a better time with it. I had fun playing it, but it's not really the type of thing I would probably... I might try one more time in the future, but probably I'm not really dying for another one. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, we got hosed with another Metroid Other M, so we're due for like a real Metroid game. Alright, Goran, you have a good one. I'll check you later. Next up is Pilot Wings Resort. I've always been a big fan of the Pilot Wings series since the NES, or Super Nintendo, and then one of the 2 launch titles for the N64. I had that, and I played a lot of Pilot Wings 64. So, I couldn't not pick this up. It's okay. It's not as good as the other Pilot Wings is, but, and probably partially because it's played on the tight controller. You're just not like getting as immersed into the world on a handheld as I would on a full screen. So I'd be okay with Pilot Wings making its way to the Switch. I would not mind that one bit. Alright, next up is Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. This was mentioned yesterday when I was going through my Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton games. And yes, they did make a versus, and I have, of course, lamely have not opened it, so it is still sealed. And of course, I've got a little bit more Layton fun. Professor Layton in the Miracle Mask. Still, I'm missing the Azran Legacy. This is weird. This one's upside down. There we go. Game box manual. A little bit of sticker action on it. You beat that game. So what was it, both game styles, or was it more one than the other? Okay, next is Puzzle and Dragon Z and Puzzle and Dragons Super Mario Brothers Edition, which is more match 3 style gameplay, but with more purpose to it. So, trying to be a little Hero Questy, or sorry, Puzzle Questy. It had both. Okay, well that would make sense. You would think that it would. Alright. The last section down at the bottom. Rayman 3D. I believe this was another launch title for the 3DS. Rayman, it's in 3D. It's Rayman 3D. I mean, there it is. Pretty much my review on it. Alright, so here's a game that's probably a little less known, but if you like rhythm games, time to feel the rhythm and beat the mystery. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. Apparently this has got some value to it. But it's one of the games that I did open. Alright. Next up is... I got this just because it's got some games on it that are fun. And I couldn't help myself. That's the main reason. Sega 3D Classics Collection. Still have it sealed. It was a like bargain bin style game sitting at Best Buy, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Why not? And it comes with free inside classic Sega decals. Rhythm Thief is way better than Devil's Third. No, it's I mean, if you like rhythm games, it's not bad. But you gotta have to like quirky rhythm games in order to get enjoyment out of it. I'll put it that way. Alright, next up is Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Still have it sealed. Have I been to Orlando, Florida, or what's your opinion about the city as a place to live? I've only been to Orlando, Florida back when I was like 13 years old. We went there to go to the, you know, Disney sites, stuff like that. As far as a place to live, it would be hard pressed for me to give an opinion on that. I don't know really much about the city. If you like hot and muggy in the summer, then you maybe Florida. And if you really hate snow, Florida would be good because in the winter, the weather is going to be a lot better. In the summer, the winter is going to be potentially miserable and rough. A lot of people will kind of like retire to Florida because of the weather and then have a summer home in like more the north so that they can not melt to pieces. So I don't know. It really depends. I'm probably not the best person to ask about Orlando, Florida, but you would be close to a Disney if that's a thing for you. But that's about all I really know, unfortunately. Alright, next up is Star Fox 64 3D. If you like Star Fox 64, and I did, you can now play it portably and in 3D. That's exactly what it is. It's good. You kind of wish you had a bigger controller while playing it. Some of these, it's kind of like, man, I wish I could plug a bigger controller into my 3DS so I could play it more comfortably for games that are going to be played in longer periods of time. Hey, not a problem, Zerto. Anytime, man. Alright, so here we go. Here's another launch title 3DS. I couldn't resist. I'm sure it's stupid cheap, and I probably only played it once or twice, but I'd be lying to say that it doesn't utilize some of the gimmicks of the 3DS, which is pretty cool. Steel Diver. Let's see how cheap this thing is. $3? This is worth $3 to pick up. I'm just going to say that right now. I paid way more than $3 for it. And it kind of comes across as a bargain bin title, but for $3, it's not the worst $3 you'd spend. I'll just say that. Okay, next is New Super Mario Bros. 2. More 2D Mario, but with way more coins. This could be under N for new. If you're looking for more 2D Mario, this will be more 2D Mario. Particularly high on your list of potential places to live if you were to move to the U.S. So how long from now are you planning on potentially thinking about moving to the U.S., Zerda? Alright, next up is Super Mario 3D Land. I felt like this game was a little bit more proof of concept playing it. I enjoyed it, but some of it didn't feel right to be on a portable. And I felt like it kind of proved that point to me when Super Mario 3D came out. Super Mario 3D World came out on the Wii U, and that game is freaking amazing. This is another instance where I wish I was playing on a bigger system while playing this. There you go. Good point, Pinball Undesirables. Alright. Here we go. More Super Monkey Ball 3D. So I've got Monkey Ball and Monkey Ball. I like Monkey Ball. What can I say? Fun game. Hey, Namus, how's it going, man? Alright, so Namus, I gotta ask. I see people do that O with the /. What exactly does that emote mean? Is that supposed to be a face? Is it supposed to be... Feel free to... Hey, what's his toes? How you doing, man? Head and waving arm? I thought so. That's what I was kind of thinking. It kind of looks like you got your hand up in the air. That makes sense. Okay. I'm glad I asked. Alright, we got Monkey Ball in there. Next up is Super Smash Bros. 3DS. I was hard-pressed not to pick it up. I played this a lot when I was traveling in Asia. It's Smash Bros. On the 3DS. It works. It's fun. Ah, okay, I got you. A salute. See, Pinball Undesirables, not everybody. I'm not going to make assumptions. I always thought it was some like a greeting of some kind. But I wasn't exactly sure. And just to refresh myself, Zerdo, you're in Germany, correct? Ah, clapping. See, now I'm learning tons of stuff. Alright, here was another launch title that I picked up because it's a launch title and less because I'm good at this game. Proof Gold can warrant that. This is Super Street Fighter 4 3D edition. It's a fighting game, and I'm terrible at those. Simple enough. Germany. Okay, that's what I thought. Keep your expectations low, Pinball Undesirables, and you don't have to worry about failure. Alright, next up is Tetris Axis. I believe I got this as a gift, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I did. Nearly certain I got this as a gift from Justin. Clicked on Tetris Ultimate. Get out of here, Tetris Ultimate. Alright. Here's one that I picked up because it was on sale. In all honesty, I don't even think I've actually tried it yet. Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call. Comes with music CD. This is not the collector's or limited edition. Or maybe it is. Certainly not that one. And not that one. Okay, we'll just call it this one. Oh, jeez. Calm down. Alright, get to the bottom here. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. And that's exactly what I thought it was. Keep expectations low, wearing things that don't really matter. Hold yourself to a higher standard where it does. Ain't that the truth, man? Here's a game that I don't have time for. Especially since I still have it sealed, of course. Oh, here we go. I've noted these already on the Vita, but here we go. Virtue's Last Reward of the 999 series. This is the second one in the series of 3 of the Zero Escape series. I'm going to put a sticker on it because GameStop. Alright. Put these, and we got 3 more, and then we're done with 3DS. Alright, here's Yoshi's Woolly World, or Poochie in Yoshi's Woolly World. I have a Vita, Proof Gold. I have a Vita. Of course. So this is under probably P for Poochie, even though I put it under Y for Yoshi. I did get the Amiibo bundle, but I've already put the Amiibo in otherwise, so I'm just going to put the game in separately from the Amiibo. Because I don't have the overall box. Poochie? You don't know who Poochie is? Poochie is amazing. Poochie was in Yoshi's Island. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. He's that little guy right there. In yarn form. Doesn't get more adorable. How could I not get an Amiibo of that? It is retardedly adorable. Other than Simpsons, yeah, it makes you think of The Simpsons. No way around that. Alright, so Zero Time Dilemma, the third game in the 999 series. And I still have this one sealed because I haven't gotten that far in the series yet. And then finally, Yoshi's New Island. Once again, more Yoshi's Island for me. Basically more Yoshi's Island, just a different game. Same gameplay style that I can't seem to get enough of. Alright. 3DS and DS, PSP and Vita are all complete. And we also did the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance loose carts. I still have some Game Boy related boxed carts to get to. But next, we're going to click into the PS2 era. So let's scroll back up to the top. See where we're at real quick, actually. We broke the $1,000 or 1,000 game spot, so we're up to 1,019 games. All right, here we go. I don't have any of the Dot Hack games either. It's just a series that I never really got into, so I had no interest in collecting them because I know I'd never play them. All right. Huh. Okay, so first up is Alien Hominid. Everybody's here. Tough game, side-scrolling, action beat 'em up, if you will. Great hand-drawn art. It's like you almost wish it wasn't as hard as it was so that you could enjoy it longer and not just get frustrated with it a bit. It was a Newgrounds related game. It was Behemoth. It was, I believe, their first one, to be honest. Alright, next up, here's a good one. Amplitude. Amplitude, the sequel to Frequency, which, no surprise, we will get to later. Made by none other than Harmonix, who revolutionized the music genre of games. And in actuality, Frequency, the first Harmonix game on PS2 of the similar gameplay style, was the reason I bought a PS2. And I'm going to see if it's over there, because it's probably not, but we'll see. So I'm going to do a quick little jump, because I've got this sitting next to my Amplitude, which is this box for Amplitude. And this is actually for the PS4 version, which I got with a Kickstarter for that. So I'm just curious to see if they've got Amplitude here. They do not have Amplitude. Okay, that's fine. Me too, Pinball Insiders. Me too. Oh, I put them all back in backwards. Okay, next one is the only US release of this, Beatmania. Beatmania, and this is Beatmania 2DX, to be honest. And I've got Beatmania controllers, 3 of them sitting over there. Let me just flip you around here real quick. Right there. That's 3 Beatmania controllers stacked up. Spin you guys around. And it's kind of a DJ rhythm game. It's got 7 buttons, key buttons, and then a disc to spin. So 8 inputs. And it is brutally tough. Especially at higher levels. Especially if you're like me and you tell yourself you will never play this game using 2 hands. The biggest thing that held me back was simply, and I do have the bundle, I still have the box for it too. Actually, you know what? One thing I forgot to do, and I gotta go do it now so I don't forget. To do systems for the 3DS. So I don't have any of the fancy schmancy ones. I have a blue one. I don't think it's, I do have this one. I'm just gonna say I've got the game, or the console. I might have the box somewhere, but honestly I don't really know. And then I have a XL black and blue or black and red maybe? Actually, it's the black and... Those are great. It's the black and blue. And then I also have a new 3DS black. I know I've got the box somewhere, but I'm just not going to worry about that at the moment. Alright, PS2, let's do it real quick here. Systems. Otherwise I keep forgetting. I just got a regular one. And actually, I'm going to add another one, because I do have two. Japanese version. And let's see real quick what the accessories are. I'm not going to put the dance pad down. I do have a network adapter. And that's all. I'll put the network adapter in because I do have it. Okay. Back to all. So we got Beatmania in there. That's good. Next up is Bully. It's a Rockstar game, so hard for me to say no back then. I never really played it much. It's been re-released quite a few times since then. So I should have played it at some point. And I'm sure it's probably good in some regard, as it's just a Rockstar game, but never really got it. Now this, on the other hand, one of my favorite gems, and they're making a new version for the 3DS coming up called Sept, which is such a great game. This is basically Magic the Gathering and Monopoly mixed together in one. And all the card collecting with a CCG is all done within the game. No additional DLC purchases needed. Just simply playing the game will continually unlock more content for you to enjoy and collect. It's a blast. It's not super expensive. Everybody should play it. It might have been me, Namus. It might have been me. I've streamed it on Twitch. But I streamed the 360 version. We'll get to that later. Alright, well, I'm going to do all these together since they're all the same thing. Start with DDR Max Dance Dance Revolution. This is really where DDR was starting to take off more, and it was easier to get versions of it in the US that were good. Next up is DDR Max 2. I am a big DDR fan. In college, me and a friend started a DDR organization where I had 2 metal pads at that time, when DDR Max came out, I bought 2 metal pads, and I'd set them out in our hall lobby once a week on a scheduled date, and just anybody who wanted to come by and play was more than welcome to come by and play for free, obviously, and really welcome newcomers to come play and give it a try. People liked it. When they had like on-campus events, we took a TV and the system and the pads and the game out there. Each year we also did a 24-hour DDR marathon where we played DDR out in the quad of the campus for 24 hours straight. It was we were really into it, to say the least. Next up is DDR Extreme. This was a really good one. I remember this one having quite a few songs that I liked quite a bit. Actually, I just put normal wear on that one. I still have a metal pad sitting right over there, which unfortunately I was actually setting up to do a DDR stream, and I brought the pad out, and one of the left arrow is acting flaky. It's got like a loose connection somewhere, so it wasn't working all the time. So obviously, if you're playing DDR, you really need the pad to work. That's like step one. So I kind of need to break into it a little further. I broke into it for like I had it disassembled for like an hour, and realizing that it's something in the wiring is probably a loose wire somewhere in there, and I need to strip it apart deeper so I can figure out where that is and get it working fully so I can actually play some stuff. So to Max, then Max 2, finally Extreme before the arcade died. Yep, sounds about right, Pinball Undesirables. You probably missed it earlier, but I went through my PS1 collection, and I've got DDR there as well. I've also, on my Japanese PlayStation, I've got some Japanese rips of DDR. So I do have third, fourth, and fifth mix as well, which was great. Next up is Supernova, DDR Supernova. Put normal wear. And then DDR Supernova 2. The thing I felt where DDR was kind of falling off for me in the arcades a little bit is when you get so many people that went and played DDR, and a lot of them were all more about getting like that perfect score on the highest, hardest difficulty. And what it turned into is a bunch of people holding on to the trick bar, and yes, trick bar, not center of gravity stabilization bar, and just moving their feet around and not actually playing it all with the element of actually having human balance as part of it. So you're not playing the game anymore. You're just tapping your feet. It's not impressive to me. And that was always distraughtful. I'd rather see someone do decent at that song and actually have to balance themselves and contort themselves properly than watch people just hang on and hover over the game, tapping their feet around. So, yeah. See, I was a fan of doing performance too. I had a few songs that, like, I memorized portions of the arrows so that you could, turn around away from the screen and not have to worry about that and still hit the notes. Next up, DDR Revolution X. This will be the last of them. They're all cheap. Alright. Here's one more it's more of a collection piece as I kind of wouldn't mind collecting these two games, even though I honestly don't know if they're really my type of game. But Dark Cloud 2, I still need Dark Cloud 1 apparently. I thought I had Dark Cloud 1 actually, to be perfectly honest. And it would appear that Dark Cloud has dropped in price significantly, because it used to be worth more, and it's recently dropped down. I don't know why. So yeah, Dark Cloud 2. Apparently I picked the wrong time to buy into the Dark Cloud series. I definitely bought it when it was more expensive, even though I didn't even know it was going to go down. So that's fine. Alright, so here's a game that's actually pretty fun, and is definitely worth me spending more time with, and I want to. That would be Def Jam Fight for New York, a fighting game with all your favorite hip-hop superstars that's over the top and is more along the type of fighting game that I would enjoy playing. And this is one that continues to go up in price. But normalware. Alright, next up is Devil May Cry, the original. Great example of a great action game, especially back when this came out. It was extremely fresh. Would be a good word for it. And then Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. I skipped by Devil May Cry 2 because I knew better. Devil May Cry 3 is more along the lines of the actual real sequel. Okay, this one I picked up because I had the game on PC and I enjoyed it, and I felt like, you know what, this would be a decent one to pick up for the collection. Escape from Monkey Island on PS2. I've always enjoyed the Monkey Island series since it first came out. This game was okay. I remember hitting a puzzle that was way too tough for me to figure out. But that was back when I played this on PC. But the animation on this was decent enough. It was in the 3D world, but and I think I kind of maybe confused this one a little bit with I think it's Tales from Monkey Island, which is the third game where it was all 2D, like almost hand-drawn animation, like cartoonish. That one was really good. I've got it in my PC games folder. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Nice pinball and desirables. I don't blame you. I would too. I kept the receipt. How much did this cost me? $5. Put normalware. It's got a little nick on the top edge. $9. Alright. Here's a game that's actually not that bad. It's not great, but it's fun. Especially back then when stuff like this didn't exist. And this was actually more fresh. EyeToy Play. It had some fun little mini games on it, I'm not gonna lie. Especially the Attack the Ninjas. Well before the Kinect was ever even close to a thing. And then here we go, we got EyeToy Play 2 for more EyeToy action. All right, Pinball Undesirables, you got it. I'm down with that. Hey, Pinball Undesirables. Thank you so much, man. You are now my top donor. And you now have a bit sitting next to 2 hedgehogs in a cup. That's a statement that needs more being said more often. Alright, next up is Fantavision. If you want to play with fireworks as a puzzle game, there you go. This is for you. It's just a fun game that looks good. It's more of a visual game than anything else. Not a bank breaker. One, you'll see this game all the time usually, or at least I used to all the time, and I just eventually picked it up. All right, here we go. Frequency I mentioned earlier with Amplitude, so kind of a repeat of Amplitude, if you will. But if you were to ask me which one I liked more, I would say I liked Frequency more. One of the main reasons I like Frequency more, well, first off, it was the original, but 2. This game worked by going down a tube instead of a flat plane. So on the tube, when you finish going around to the last track, you're back at the beginning. Heyo! Thank you for the bits, man. We just hit another one. So yeah, I enjoyed Frequency more than I enjoyed Amplitude. But that doesn't say I didn't enjoy Amplitude. I need to pick up the Fatal Frame games. I do not have those. I almost did at MagFest, but then I didn't. Still in great condition for me having it this long. Alright. Here's a game that was actually, hey, I don't blame you, man. Pace yourself. Full Spectrum Warrior. So, it might not sound like the type of game that you would like, but what makes this game cool, outside of it was made by Pandemic, who is a fantastic studio, what made this cool was that it was not like your typical Ghost Recon, Call of Duty type game, even though those games didn't really exist then so much in the way they do now. But it was a strategy game. And you could play 2 players online, and you would actually, it was a turn-based type strategy game, more like an XCOM style game, but you could play it cooperatively with someone, and you'd set up your guys and you'd give each other cover to traverse through an area and then take out enemies. It was fun to play. And for $2, would be easy for me to recommend if you ever felt like revisiting an old game. Alright, so here's one I got for the collection's sake. And I actually have 2 copies. This on here and on the Xbox. Futurama. And I'm not going to say it's a great game, but what I can say is that it's not only like Futurama is an amazing show. If you don't like Futurama, then you're probably just haven't watched enough Futurama. But wow, this has gone up in value. It basically plays as a never before seen episode of the show, and all the voice actors are there. And it's, action platformer, but it's got the humor from the show, and it's got a plot line for the show. And it's good. Okay, now here we go. Here's a serious game. This game is amazing. Highly recommended if you love your quirky rhythm games. Should be on the top of your list. Guitar Man, or Guitar Man, however you want to say it. Love the show, that's a bit. Not a lot of people have played Futurama. It's not one you come across very often. It's a bit more uncommon to rare, and it's expensive. So, Guitar Man. if you enjoy a good rhythm game, this is definitely one to get. The music's fantastic. It's just so good. It's so good. Alright, here's one that I picked up a long time ago from Best Buy because I always wanted to get it, because not just for the... You can just go for the cover or the title. And I never opened it up, but it's God Hand. Best Buy, $9.99. I grabbed it out of the bargain bin back in the day. And it's become quite collectible now. And I still even have it sealed. In all honesty, I don't really know if this is actually a good game or it's not necessarily a good game. That's part of it, Namus. But it is Clover Studios. It is Capcom. Clover Studios made Okami. And that's a good game. Alright, next up, we got to get through these, of course. God of War. If you're a fan of Devil May Cry and you like pretty much the epitome of a third-person action beat-em-up game, this is right there. Not much to probably say about God of War series that people probably don't already know. God of War 2, of course. For God of War series, there we go. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so this next set is going to be very common stuff, but I'm going to follow that up with very uncommon stuff, so there's my ploy. Some stuff that pretty much everybody probably has in a PS2 collection for the most part, or most people have. Grand Theft Auto 3, no surprise. I also picked this up when I first got my PS2 alongside Frequency. This game was fantastic, revolutionary for its time, blah, blah, blah. What more do you want to say about it? I had a blast playing it, and yeah. Then, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I didn't get into Vice City as much as it seemed like other people did. I don't know if it was the 80s vibe that for some reason I just didn't get, and I missed the radio stations on Grand Theft Auto 3. I will say, when I played Grand Theft Auto 3, I pretty much 95% of the time I was listening to the classical music station and driving around, and I felt that the classical music mixed with the violence was like the perfect mixture that was just so good. And then Vice City came out, you know, improved upon what they already had, but at the same time, I felt like I missed that classical music, and it just felt, not that there's a problem with 80s, because I enjoy 80s, but just something about it didn't work with me as well. And of course, San Andreas, original. You really like the 80s vibe, interesting. Clockwork Orange, exactly. Ever play Saints Row? Indeed I have. We will be eventually getting to Saints Row. That's a little far away from where we're at right now, though. Alright, San Andreas, we got him opened up. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. We've got everybody in here. I remember when I got this game, I took the big map that's in here, laid it out, like, on my coffee table, and basically kept it there as I was playing the game. I think I put it between two sheets of glass, actually, so that it was just kind of like pressed in there. Hey, Namus, get yourself some food, man. I'll be here. Okay, and here we go. No surprise on this one. Once again, getting back to harmonics. I could talk about harmonics all day. Guitar Hero. The first one before Guitar Hero got popular. I was a huge fan right from the jump. I played a lot of Guitar Freaks, the Bamani version of basically Guitar Hero, if you will. Back when that was in an arcade that was near me, and I played the hell out of that. So I was all ready for Guitar Hero before it even came out. And enjoyed Guitar Hero a lot. Kevin is probably going to be starting to stream in a few minutes. I already warned him. I'm like, hey, Kevin, I'm going to stream tonight, so I'm sorry for all the people I'm going to pull away from your stream. And, you know, he accepted my apology. It was nice of him. It was kind. Guitar Hero 2, where it really started to kind of blow up a bit more and prove that this is something that's going to be around for a little while. Big surprise, it was. And only improved upon what was so good about the first one. Next, Guitar Hero Encore, rocking the 80s. Basically your first sound pack, if you will. Didn't really do anything other than give you more songs and just hit to a genre, not a genre, a decade of music. Yep, Grand Lizard tonight. Guitar Hero Rock Band all day. Rock Band all day. After Guitar Hero 2, it just made sense to go to Rock Band. And then basically Activision's like, oh, I'm going to take the thing you created and then ride the popularity for you. But yeah, no. Wherever harmonics went, that's where I went. Okay, here we go. Getting to some more rare, uncommon stuff. Not necessarily here, but Half-Life. Now, if you were to ask me back in probably 2000 what my favorite game of all time was, my answer to you would be Half-Life. PC version, mind you, but Half-Life. But then if you asked me a few years later what my favorite game of all time was, I would have said Half-Life 2. Goat and PC. Okay, so here was my first foray into this franchise a bit. Harvest Moon, Save the Homeland. Harvest Moon, Save the Homeland. Good old-fashioned farming simulator. I never got into the Harvest Moon series anywhere the same way that I got into Animal Crossing. But I can understand why people would enjoy Harvest Moon. So, I enjoyed what I played of this back when I played it. But I didn't dive in as deep as other people, maybe. Not a problem. Quake, maybe there are a handful of games that were like, Half-Life isn't really in there. 1 or 2. Wow. You know what made Half-Life so good? Not only was it some of the best AI when it first came out, it was one of the first games that had a non-stop adventure. When you would play through the game, the story progresses, but you didn't just beat a level and then start, here's your score, let's go to the next level, like Doom or Quake was. But Half-Life, you didn't beat a level. You got to the next, you just keep traveling. You'd have a loading screen in between because, you couldn't have all that game without a loading screen back then. But it would just keep going. You didn't stop and get transported somewhere else. It never took you out of the game. It was one nice, awesome, fluid experience all the way through. And it was one of the first games that I remember ever having that type of experience of it. And that really stuck with me. So, alright. Whoop. Okay, next one is Haunting Ground. This is more of me getting it because it was rare and I was able to get it at what I say I guess is a good price for when I got it, and it was in good condition, so it was hard for me to say no. And when I say good price, I paid $89.95 for it, and it's the type of game that when it's that expensive rare, you know it's going to go up in price at least, and I wanted to get it before it may or may not have gone too crazy. And it's also, even though I'm not big on the horror games per se, it is the type of game that is still good. It's not like just trash. So, alright. Now, games that I did play and were amazing and was good is Ico. This I had a great experience with. When I played this, I had a friend over. This was back in grad school. I had a friend over, had the game. We sat down and played it all through together in one sitting. And there's something about playing single-player games with a second person, and you switch off between the two of you and you're working together, that's just an experience that is so good. It's better than playing it by yourself sometimes. So if you've never played Ico, I totally recommend checking it out. It's not a long game, which is a fantastic thing for myself nowadays. So real easy to recommend. Alright, next up is another one that I picked up at the same time as Haunting Ground, because for the same reason. One, I think at the time I'm like, I think this is priced incorrectly. Not to say it wasn't still expensive, but it's another rare, expensive PS2 game. Another horror one, of course. Kuon. So I felt like I needed to grab it because of the opportunity to grab it. I paid $82.95 for it, and it's since basically doubled in price. Alright. Let's keep it going here. You know, odd that I didn't get the other two on PS2, but Jak and Daxter. Hey, double super jackpot. Mimzolar resubbing for 9 months. Awesome. So Jak and Daxter. This is a fantastic 3D platform action. Naughty Dog. There's not much more you can say. They know what they're doing. And actually, Kuon should be at a different spot than it is. That's weird. So Jak and Daxter, Precursor Legacy. I ended up picking up the trilogy I don't know why I never picked up 2 or 3, to be honest. Alright, here we go. More Harmonix. Once again, proving they know what's up. Karaoke Revolution. And this came out before Guitar Hero. And it just made sense that they just put together Guitar Hero, Karaoke Revolution, and ended up creating Rock Band. Ah, I hear you. I would say for me, I made time up until the last few years. I had more free time on my hands, but Karaoke Revolution. Kind of extinct now, but yeah. Alright, next up is Katamari Damacy. The first one. Good game. Blast to play. Music's fantastic. Gameplay was fun. Not much more to say about it. Okay, so here's another one I started to collect a little bit more of once I got the PS1 game. Klonoa 2. Lunate's Veil. There's Klonoa there hanging out, being extra cool. I think he tried to be too cool, and that might have been his downfall. So this is that point where I'm collecting games and I haven't actually got around to playing it, but I've got it and it's ready to be played. Yeah, sticker on the back. Here's one that I guess I just picked up and I don't know why. I don't have any knowledge about this game. I think it was just the cover caught my attention. Legend of K. I mean, look at that cover. It looks interesting. And if I didn't know anything else about it, and then you look at the back, it looks like animals fighting action platforming. Worth a try. It's a Capcom game. How bad could it really be? Well, the answer to that is I still don't know. Someday. Okay, we're going to start to jump into a complete repetitive thing, and we'll breeze through those as fast as we can. But first, Legend of Spyro, The New Beginning. I went on a Spyro kick as well. Collected a bunch of Spyro games. Alright, so if you like baseball games, this next series will be for you. World Series Baseball 2K3. Here we go. We'll just work our way through this. So, I didn't necessarily have this one back in the day. I bought a ton of PS2, Xbox original games and a lot. Got a really good deal on a ton of them. And I kept all the baseball ones that I didn't already have. And a handful of other stuff that was decent enough. So, that's why I'm going to have a few extra sports titles than I should. Just because I couldn't let it go, because I'm not going to get anything for it anyway. World Series Baseball 2K3. And I do like me some baseball games. Next up, MVP Baseball 2004. going to take us all over the place here. I guess it's going to be at the top of the M's. 2004. All right, next one is ESPN Baseball 2004 Sega. So none of these I actually bought like when they came out. This one I might have though. Major League Baseball 2K5. I became a good fan of the 2K series of baseball games, mainly because I like baseball, and also I have a friend who also likes baseball. And these, back in the day, you could play these online. So it was a great way for us to keep in touch, was to play these games together online. I guess I have the World Series edition. No, I do not. Major League Baseball 2K5. Okay, I don't even see it, so I guess I'm going to stick with the 2K World Series edition. That's fine, whatever. Alright, Major League Baseball 2K6. Here we go. Let the collection continue. Whole dollar. Oh, this one has baseball cards in it. Alright, MLB 2006, covered in stickers. This is probably not one that I bought. Okay, back to normal games. The Mark of Cry. So, action, stealthy style game, if you will. I wish I had gotten into it more because it's actually supposed to be a pretty good game. Is that under T for the? No. There we go. Okay, here we go. Tough game. I kind of wanted to play this one on stream, but I never did yet. Maximo, Ghosts of Glory. This is in the series of Ghosts and Goblins, or Ghouls and Ghosts games. G games. This is one I did have back in the game, and it is also difficult. And later on picked up the sequel, Maximo Army of Zin. Maximo versus Army of Zin. My bad.
Jackpot!
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Thanks, Star Hedgehog. Okay, and then Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. This was my original copy. I remember getting this at the same time as Guitar Man. I'm pretty sure I played way more Guitar Man than I did Metal Gear Solid. All right. Making our way through the PS2 here. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. Here's a weird one. Mr. Mosquito. Nothing quite like flying around as a mosquito and sucking blood out of people. This game got retardedly difficult later on in itself. And it was just weird. Just weird. I don't know if I'd call it a good game. It's a game. Here's one that I enjoyed a lot. This one was actually, this one's more than good. Mortal Kombat Deception. If you enjoy Mortal Kombat games at all, I really highly recommend this particular one. And this is back when Mortal Kombat was trying to do more than just be Mortal Kombat. They tried to make more modes within their game to expand on it and give more reason to have more games come out. And this was also the era where they were having multiple fight styles in the 3D fighting, and it was working out well. But they added in a conquest adventure that I played all the way through, and it was a retardedly fun adventure to go on. Like, in the same way that Mortal Kombat 9 story mode was amazing, at this time, the Conquest Adventure mode was amazing. And definitely some that probably does not get enough attention and or love. Alright, here's a game that's not as good as I thought I remember it being. NBA Ballers. I thought I remember playing this a long time ago and liking it more, and then I played it on stream once and didn't have as much fun as what I remember. So I don't know why I still have this. This is one of the ones I got in in that huge lot of games. Yeah, highly recommend checking out Deception. It'd be stupid cheap to get nowadays, and well worth it. Maybe it would be a good one to stream sometime, to be perfectly honest. Okay. Mentioned it before, Clover Studios with God Hand. Here is Okami. Basically, Legend of Zelda Wolf Edition, before Twilight Princess was a thing. Me too, Pinball Undesirables. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this. I figured, one, obviously I really want to get them cataloged so I have that information. But two, it's going to help me probably note games which I would enjoy playing. And I'll have a giant list that anybody can look through and say, hey, can you play this? And I'll be like, yes I can. Next up is Onimusha. Here's a series I never really played. I just collected, to be honest. But Capcom action Resident Evil-ish style gameplay, but in Japan, I guess. So yeah, this was more of a collection than it was I played Onimusha much at all. I basically really only watched somebody else play Onimusha. Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny. And then, this is the one I remember watching. Onimusha 3, Demon Siege, with Jean Reno, which is one of the main reasons it caught my interest back then. And I'm a big fan of Jean Reno, mainly because of Leon. Alright, and here's one that I just held on to. This was from the game lot that I had bought. Outlaw Golf 2. Because the first one wasn't outlaw-y enough. You needed a sequel. If you want weird golf, here you go. Alright, I feel like I might extrapolate some bits from you here, Pinball Undesirables, in this set. We'll see. We'll see. Alright. In my shooter binge, picked up a copy of Raiden 3. I don't know if this is a particularly good version of Raiden, but it's not like I've got a ton of choices. So I grabbed it when I had the opportunity. Top-down shooter. Once again, shooter binge, R-Type final. More shooting, but this time side-scrolling rather than top-down. Alright, now these next two, the next one more so than this one, but this one as well, probably some of my favorite games on PS2, period. And really blew me away, and I've been a huge fan of it ever since. Ratchet & Clank, Going Commando, this is the second one. I never really played the first one. I jumped in at the second one. And, oh my god, did it blow me away. Just the way that the game felt, control scheme-wise, and just as an action 3D platformer, it hit all the switches perfectly. Huge fan of this. And then, of course, the sequel to that, or third one in the series, Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal, I felt was probably the finest moment in the Ratchet & Clank series. It was the perfect mix of just how the game played, how it paced, how it felt. The weapons you use, the more you use them, the more they upgrade, and once you upgrade them to a point, they like transform into something that's even more awesome, that just makes you want to use all the weapons so that you can upgrade them. And it was the type of game that I just wanted to keep playing more because it was fun to play. Not necessarily that I felt that it was just good. It was better than that. It was just, you wanted to keep playing it because it was that good. There's still time, Pinball Undesirables. There's still time. If you have a PS4, The new Ratchet and Clank on PS4 is amazing. Looks gorgeous. Plays fantastic. I still like the weapon mechanics of Up Your Arsenal more, but by far and away, that's like still an amazing game to get in on. Alright, and the last one I got here in this stack that I pulled out was Ratchet Deadlocked. This was Ratchet and Clank trying to do something a little bit different and then taking a stumble by trying to play online. I never really got into it. Didn't really click with me. And that's okay. I forgave it. I'd have figured Ratchet and Clank would have fit well with you Pinball Undesirables. Like I say, there's still time. Alright. It was a thing, PS2 and online only worked really well for certain things that were big. Especially at that time when Xbox Live was just in its infancy at best. So here's a game that actually I may have borrowed from a friend, and I don't know if I gave it back to him and then bought another copy or this is still his copy. Red Faction. First-person shooter with the destructible environment Geomod. I played later versions of Red Faction, which I will mention later, that I really got into, but I never really played the originals. Well, actually, it was given to me. He gave me a copy and said, "You've got to play this." And I don't know if I've ever given it back. Now here is a game. This is where I first played it. It came out on the Dreamcast originally. It's come out on the 360. It's on the PS4. It's not tough to get your hands on now, but back then it was. And that's Rez. Now this is an experience. This game here just was one that I could not get sick of playing over and over again. So good. If you haven't played it, highly recommend it. There we go. I think I hit one there. Used to be way more expensive. With so many re-releases and options available out there to play it now, it's way more accessible than it ever was. If you haven't played it, make that happen. Alright, next up is Shadow of the Colossus. So, same as Ico, made by Team Ico. This is their next game. If you haven't played it, you definitely owe yourself checking this game out, playing it. PS2, they have an HD version on the PS3. I definitely recommend the Xbox 360 one is really good. I'm sure that's probably the easiest, cheapest way to go. That's an HD. Shadow of the Colossus. So this was a later pickup, and this was recommended by a friend. And I played this on stream, actually, and it was fun. I was enjoying it. I wish graphically it was a little less muddy. But that's okay. I still had fun playing it while I was. And that'd be Shadow of Rome. Very mature. Lots of graphic violence and gore. But it was fun when I was playing it. Shadow of Rome. Yeah. Alright, and next up is Silent Hill 2. I never really played the first one. I watched a friend play some of it. And then Silent Hill 2, I never really finished by any stretch of the imagination. But it was so freaking popular back when I had the PS2 that I couldn't not get it. but it is awfully mentally disturbing and frightening to play. Alright. So here's another series that's, I only got the first one of, a lot like Jak and Daxter. But I did pick up a trilogy of it eventually, so... And that would be Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Fun game, plays well. Sly Cooper. Worth checking out. I would say if you ever want to get into Sly Cooper, go pick up the trilogy on PS3 for cheap. Check it out that way. Play it in HD. The definitive Silent Hill game, exactly. Alright. Next up, this is one I had for Dreamcast, but I picked it up for PS2 anyway. That'd be Space Channel 5. This is Special Edition. Space Channel 5 is a rhythm game. Music, like heavily music based in the sense that you're playing it so you can listen to music that you're playing while you're playing it. It's fun. It's not my favorite rhythm game dynamic, or mechanic I should say, but it's still pretty good. Alright, which one was that for, Pinball Undesirables? Was that for Space Channel 5? Or Sly Cooper? I'm guessing Space Channel 5. Yeah. Alright, next one is one I played with, I wasn't really big into this, but I had a lot of friends that were, so I ended up picking it up and playing it with them. And that would be SOCOM 2, Navy SEALs. We would play online together. There wasn't a lot of games like it back then. It was a lot more realistic, if you will. Is it the top of the S's for SOCOM? There it is, SOCOM 2, Navy SEALs. Game doesn't really have much value nowadays with the fact that you're not really going to be playing it online. Go save space, Michael. Yes. Uncredited Michael Jackson. Alright, and then after they were done with that, of course, they had to pick up SOCOM 3, so did I. If nothing else, these will provide me a memory of the days of yore playing with friends. Which game was it? But yeah, you can go look, indeed. This is not one I had at the time, but I just kind of picked it up not long after, I believe. Soul Reaver 2. The Legacy of Kain series. It's not necessarily one that I know a whole lot about. I know I've had some friends that have played the Soul Reaver series, or Legacy of Kain series, and have enjoyed it. This was more of a collecting game than a buying to play game. Now if I can just find it, probably under L for Legacy of Kain. Not seeing Beyond Good and Evil. That's correct. You are not. What you might see is I might have a lot more games in the Xbox original section than the PS2 section that I wanted to get for graphic capabilities. I mean, I could just say spoilers and go like this. Well, we'll get there eventually. Alright, next up, this is another one where I bought it just because I'm like, well, maybe this is cool. I mean, how bad could it really be? Star Wars Bounty Hunter with a big picture of a Bounty Hunter Fett mask right on the front. Playing as Jango Fett. Limited edition cover art, even. So I was kind of like, yeah, alright, I'll get it. Haven't played it yet. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Alright, this one came in the lots of games. It's probably better than bad. But Starsky and Hutch. I would guess this is the type of game that I would probably play, have the lowest of expectations, and probably would find it to be not as bad as what I think it could possibly be. That's my expectation, is that it wouldn't be as bad as what I would think it would be. Gotta keep those low expectations. I have not played it yet, though. Here's, jumping back into the rhythm games. Taiko Drum Master, the US release of Taiko Drum Master, which is a rhythm game using a larger taiko drum peripheral, which I have multiple of. Alright, these next two are actually later pickups that are actually pretty sweet, and I think would make great games to stream. And that is Taito Legends with 28 different games on them. From Elevator Action to The Ninja Kids, The New Zealand Story, Rainbow Islands, a bunch of other stuff, Rastan, so a bunch of stuff I haven't heard of, but it's the type of game where you're likely to find games you haven't played before, but you're likely to find pretty sweet games as well. And that's the type of collection that I enjoy playing through, one like this. Because I'm likely to find a handful of games I've never seen or played, and it would more than likely find one that's really good. And then, of course, Taito Legends 2, which has, over 35 games on it. So even more games, like Liquid Kids and Dungeon Magic. I think I streamed this one a little bit too, maybe. But these would make good streaming games, in my opinion. And here's one I don't hear anybody else talk about. And I enjoy, and I have streamed this one as well. And this has got to have more value than this. This is retarded this to only be $1. Hey Zerto, thanks for being here. You have a good one, and I will check you later, man. Technic Beat. A rhythm game that's like a platformer, if you will. Running around, hitting buttons in circles, and enjoying tons and tons of songs. Maybe, maybe not. I'm probably not going to go super late, but I am making some good progress here. Technic Beat, totally recommended. I feel it's a hidden gem on the PS2 that I never hear anybody talk about. Total shame. You should definitely make that happen. Or request me to stream it again sometime. And then check it out. Getting close to the end here of PS2. Most people haven't heard of Technic Beat. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Okay, here we go. Next up is Tony Hawk Underground. This one I really enjoyed. You could, if you had a PS2 camera, which I did, you can take a picture of your face and you can upload it to a website and they'll put you in the game. So I had my own character as me in the game and he looked like me with a stretched out blurry face and it was great. And it was Tony Hawk before it was crazy, and it was still a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun with the game. Tony Hawk Underground. Alright, the next one I've got 2 copies of because it's one of my favorite games from a long time ago. Heyo! A host coming my way with some stars on it. That's new. Hey, Mackert. Hosting my stream with 1 viewer. Thank you so much, man. I do not have any Tekkens on PS2 Pinball Undesirables. Is that the first time you've seen my hosting animation, I take it? I don't know what this is doing up here, but it is. So Tribes Aerial Assault, I've got 2 copies of it because you can play this over a LAN, and I really, really love Tribes. And I played Tribes 1 on PC, Star Siege Tribes actually, and love that game. The depth that it had, the fact that you had a working base with generators powering different things, and all those can be destroyed individually. If you destroy the generators, nothing else works. You could play as much defensive as offensive in that game, and I just loved it. Tribes 2 was amazing as well. It had tons and tons of depth, just improved upon Tribes 1. Then they made it on PS2. It doesn't have the level of depth that original Tribes did. They left enough stuff of it out that it's kind of missing like an extra tier of depth that I really loved. But it's still really good. So I still like it. Tribes is way ahead of its time. This is, Tribes Aerial Assault is based off of the Tribes PC game made by Sierra. So I'm going to add that in. And I'm pretty sure, yep, both are complete, right? Yep. So 2 copies of Tribes. Okay, next one is Beautiful Joe. I've got it on GameCube, but I also have it on PlayStation 2, which I believe I had on PlayStation 2 first. Capcom game, Clover game. It's difficult. It's fun. It's very visually enjoyable. Alright, so here's one I picked up after the fact type of thing. And I don't have the manual for it, which was upsetting. But, War of the Monsters. Probably most people may not have heard of this one. And it's basically you pick yourself a different monster and you go around a town and You destroy each other. It's basically 3D brawling, destroying a city, monster movie greatness, and it embraces the monster movie theme all within itself. It's really kind of cool, especially if you enjoy monster world, monster theme style stuff. So I only got the box, no manual. I have Beautiful Joe 2 on GameCube, not on PlayStation. More than Rampage, but Rampage. It has more moves for your character to do. It's not just mindlessly hitting buildings. It's more about fighting each other in the world with buildings in the way. Alright, so next up is We Heart Katamari, the sequel to Katamari Damacy. Alright, so where is this going to be? We Love Katamari, there it is. I'm not big on fighting games. It's not my biggest thing. I do like Soul Calibur as far as some fighting franchises go. And I've got a little bit here or there for some, but not that huge on it. Winback 2, Project Poseidon. I have not played this one yet, but I did have the original Winback on 64, and I liked that. That game was ahead of its time, if you will. Winback 2. Winback 2, there we are. It's complete, yes it is. Game box manual. No more. Alright. We got 3 US-based games here left. First one is Yakuza 2, which actually never opened, so this bad boy is still sealed. Which is weird because apparently, I don't know when I picked it up or why I picked it up, other than it's supposed to be good. So, and apparently Yakuza 2, well, it's gone down in price, apparently. It was up there in the $75, apparently just dropped in price just recently. Interesting. Same with the complete in box. And even more so for the new, used to be up in the 130s. Now it's all the way down there in the 50s. I guess I waited too long on the Yakuza 2 sealed market. Nobody cares anymore. But that's fine. And then next up is Zone of the Enders. This is not a game that I bought at the time it was out. I bought it after the fact, but I remember a friend of mine played it a lot, and I'd watch him play it a bit, and I know I'd enjoy it, so I figured it needed to be in the collection. Yeah, that's what it was, the reprint of the Yakuza series, that's right. I knew there was something. And then Zone of the Enders 2, the second runner. Sequel to Zone of the Enders. Had to have that as well. So the rest of the games that I have are all Japanese games, since I have a Japanese PlayStation 2. More than likely, none of them will be on this list, but we'll run through them anyway, just to show them off, if nothing else. So, when I was really into Konami Bemani games, you'll see plenty of these, but here we go. Beatmania 2DX 6th style. Once again, using the Bemani Beatmania controllers, which I had though. I had this. This was out well before they decided to release a US version of it. I know they just had the one Beatmania game, so there's that. Then Beatmania 2DX 11 Red, just more of the same, just like any song pack, playing more of it. Alright, here's one that I picked up. I'm sure this is not on here, but I saw a YouTube video of, what was it, Game Grumps playing this one, so I couldn't help but pick up a copy for myself. In the Sega Ages collection, it is Bonanza Brothers, along with another title above it that I don't know what it is because it's not in English. But the Bonanza Brothers title looked like a lot of fun to play. So I went ahead and picked it up. And just to have a quick gander, any chance it's in here? Of course it's not. And then we can look up Sega Ages just in case. Nope. That's fine. And then I picked this up at my local store. Been actually looking for this for a long time, but never had one locally. Could have ordered online, but never did. This is here's a fighting game for you, Pinball Undesirables. Fist of the North Star, the fighting game. I'm sure that's not the official tagline, but it's a 2D fighting game with Fist of the North Star characters, which my friend Adam really loves. So I picked it up so I would have it in my collection, so we'd be able to play it sometime. Alright, next up after that, there's going to be a lot of these. Poppin' Music. This is another Bemani game, which I've got a repro or a homemade arcade-sized Poppin' Music controller that'll plug in, which is 9 large buttons, and it's a big controller, but you do a lot of slapping and hitting them, which is very satisfying. The music's good. So Poppin' Music 8, Poppin' Music 9, Poppin' Music 10, Poppin' Music 11, Poppin' Music something 12, Poppin' Music 12. Alright, and here's another one that isn't as wildly popular. But I do have this, and it comes with its own sensors to put on the ground to play it. It's Paradise. It works well enough that you can play it. Some of the songs are fun. A lot of people who play this, there's para dancing that goes along with, like, dancing routines that go along with each of the songs that you can learn. I am not really into that, but I will play it. If you've ever watched Sunny in Philadelphia, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, character from that named Mac will do a lot of hey-o, throwing out the pity bit. So yeah, Mac from that will do a lot of like air karate, if you will, and more or less that's pretty much the way I'll play Paradise. Doing a lot of more sharp air karate movements than the expected dancing stylish movements. Oh, so you know Paradise. Okay, perfect. Alright, next one is a top-down shooter, which is actually supposed to be pretty good. I have a version of it on PS1, but here's Strikers 1945 1 and 2 on PlayStation 2. Supposed to be fairly good. And then this series of games, I mentioned Taiko Drum Master before, but here's the original Taiko no Tatsujin, Taiko no Tatsujin More, and Taiko no Tatsujin Even More. You went all in on the Para, didn't you? Alright, and that wraps it up for my PS2 games. Let's have a look. Where are we sitting? So 1118. Moving right along. Next up would be PS3. We've got time to do PS3. I don't see why not. It's only one row here. Everybody's streaming. It's a big stream night. Okay, what do we got? PS3 games. Grab a few more here. Okay, first one up is 3D Dot Heroes. Top-down, original Legend of Zelda-like style, bit graphics. I don't have a ton of PS3 games. No, that's true. Because when it came to PS3, Xbox, unless it was more exclusive to PS3, I picked it up for the 360. So, I tended to favor that over the PS3. Alright, but we will start by putting the system in. Make sure that gets done. PS3, I had original 60 gig that was backwards compatible. The Fat Boy. Accessories. What'd they have here? Move controller. We got plenty of those. Accessory, normal wear. Accessory, normal wear. I'll just say 2, even though I think I've got 4. PlayStation Eye, definitely have that. And that's all we need to say there. Alright, so 3D Dot Heroes. Still had manuals back then. That's good. Alright, next is, since I'm a big fan, honestly, of Quantic Dream, I can't say no. Beyond Two Souls, not the finest work, but it had its moments that I enjoyed. A lot of people bag on David Cage. I enjoy it. I'm a really big fan of Indigo Prophecy, and I did really like Heavy Rain. Beyond Two Souls kind of missed it a bit, and regardless of how it turns out, I know I'll pick up Detroit when that comes out, even just by the name alone. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it. And here's a fun one. If you like trivia stuff, and I do at times, Buzz Quiz TV. Why is this worth so much? I'm going to put normal wear because I'm sure the controllers I have are not flawless by any regard. Okay, so here's one that I collected. And I haven't played it, but it's supposed to be good. And this was more of a collection piece than anything else, so a bit more expensive. And that would be Class of Heroes 2G. And apparently this tanked in price and is not worth as much as it once was. They all kind of just tanked down in price. That's wonderful. Well, pick up your copy of Class of Heroes 2G sometime. I'm guessing some form of re-release happened. Alright, next up is Dead Space 2. I don't know why I have it on, it actually still is sealed. I must have got this as a gift or something. I think I did. Because I would have gotten it Dead Space, and this is limited edition. Game box manual, still sealed. Alright, next up is Demon Souls. The start of something bigger. I never really got into the Demon Souls style games. I'm sure I probably would have liked it if I had given it more. Okay, so here's one I've wanted to stream for a long time. And this is about as nerdy as it gets. But I've had one friend that got into this at the same level as I did. And unfortunately, there isn't online play anymore. So I honestly don't even remember what the single player dynamic of this is even like. But it is Eye of Judgment. Basically a collectible card game where you probably don't really need to even, but you play it physically in front of you using the camera with physical cards you actually have to buy and collect to play a game on the screen that you're playing in front of you. And we even bought a box of booster packs and split them, and we played and made decks. I still got a ton of cards. I think it would be fun to play it on stream. I wish I had somebody else I could rope along in with this, but unfortunately I don't know anybody that would be into it as much as I would. Here's one that I probably shouldn't have gotten, but I got anyway because I had the camera, of course, and the Move, which is iPet. He is terrifying, and it doesn't really look all that great. But I've got it. It's too late, it happened. Alright, next God of War game, God of War 3. Probably one of the best of the series, if not the best of the series. And then, as mentioned before, here's Heavy Rain. David Cage again. And I really enjoyed it. I wasn't trying to go through his storyline and nitpick every little thing you could get your hands on and just trying to make a mockery of it. I just sat back and enjoyed it for what it was, which was a good time. Alright, this has come up a few times during the stream as well. Hot Shots Golf. Out of Bounds. Hot Shots Golf series is fun. It can get repetitive once you've played one. I don't think I've ever played more than one that any of them that felt different than any of the others, per se. But it's a good game. I mean, you can say that about a lot of golf games. I've already mentioned both of these titles on PS2, but here you go. If you want to get a HD remaster, the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection on PS3 is a great way to go. It's not that expensive. Great way to play both games in an HD remaster. Here's a series I really, really liked. And Pinball Undesirables, if you're still out there, based on your enjoyment of Saints Row or your mention of Saints Row, if you haven't ever checked out the Infamous series, highly recommend it. I had a blast with the Infamous series 1, 2, and 3, or Second Son, however you want to call it. So, of course, like I said, Infamous 2. I thought Infamous 2 was way better than the first one, even though they were both great. It just improved on everything it needed to. And I mentioned it already as well. Jak and Daxter remastered in HD trilogy. I had the first Jak. This is the way to go if you want to play the Jak and Daxter games, to be honest. Just because they're not gonna look any better than this, and you get all three. Hey, you beat Second Son the other day, excellent. I don't know why I picked this up, but I did. I don't think it appealed to me as much as it could have. Killzone 2, but I've got it, and I don't know why I necessarily get rid of it, other than I didn't really care for it that much, but it's not really worth getting rid of, so I still have it. Alright, another fantastic series from PS3, Little Big Planet, just a lot of fun. I mean, most people know what Little Big Planet is. I never got into the making aspect of it as I thought I would, hopefully, but it was still fun to play, and I still had a good time with it. And it's got one of the most feel-good looks to a game. And of course, the sequel, Little Big Planet 2, just doing more of what Little Big Planet 1 did. Alright, next up is Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. And here's one that I probably should have played more of, but I didn't. Mod Nation Racers. Basically very Mario Kart racing with a bunch of customization, and probably is still fun, but I just never really got into it for whatever reason. And, of course, I had to pick up an extra copy of this. I played it on the Wii, but No More Heroes, Heroes Paradise, basically a remaster of No More Heroes, but using the Move and camera versus the Wiimote. I'm a huge No More Heroes fan. Alright, next is Portal 2, which I believe I have more than one copy of, but I got it on PS3 anyway, and I still actually never opened it on PS3 because I played it on the 360. Portal 2, fantastic game. Not much needed to be said there. Getting close. Okay, now here's an interesting title that's probably lesser known on the PS3. And definitely worth checking out. It's definitely unique, interesting, and like I say, worth checking out. And that would be Puppeteer. Alright, so now getting into Ratchet and Clank games. Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction. These were all good as well. They looked beautiful on the PS3. They played good. Still not as good as the third one in my mind, but they were still fun to play. Ratchet and Clank, Crack in Time. Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus. And then this series, it was more of a launch title for it. Resistance Fall of Man. Insomniac of Ratchet and Clank fame got into first-person shooters, so I had to check it out. Unfortunately, Resistance really never took off, and or did I ever get the feeling it was anywhere as good as what they could be doing. So yeah. But of course I had to get it. And I also have Resistance 2. That one I never even opened. Almost done. Alright. Back to the collection. Here's the Sly Cooper collection I mentioned earlier, which has got all 3 Sly games in it in HD. If you want to check out the Sly Cooper games, this is a fantastic way to do that. Nope. It's the Sly collection. Is it under T for the? Of course it is. You enjoy the Resistance games? They just felt, to me, they didn't feel anything special. I wanted them to be more special than they were. Not bad, just nothing special for me. Sports Champions. If you bought a move, well, you needed to do something with it. So you bought Sports Champions. Wii Sports for men. Men who buy controllers with lit balls on the end of them. It was okay, but required so much money to play. Where the Wii just did it simpler and better. But yeah, there you go, Sports Champions. Alright, so here's one that I picked up based off of, I don't remember, it was like a video that talked about certain games. And this was the only way to actually get this game in a physical form. And it had a bunch of other games on it were actually good. So this is the Best of PlayStation Network Volume 1. And interestingly enough, this game was on there, and I'd never heard of it before. So let's see if we can find this. Best of PlayStation Network. Volume 1. They only did one volume. Apparently there wasn't a ton of great things on the PlayStation Network. And this is still sealed. So the games that are on here, there's When Vikings Attack, which I never played. That's that first one. Then there's Sound Shapes, which is actually a fantastic little platforming music game, which is cool. Then the last one is Fat Princess, which is actually a pretty fun game as well, which I did have. So I already own 2 of these. And then there's one called Tokyo Jungle, which was described so insane that I needed to own this game. And they don't give you a good description on the back here. They just say, hunt your way to the top of Tokyo's post-apocalyptic food chain. Basically, animals running around Tokyo in a post-apocalyptic world, just, I guess, killing each other. So, hey, Pinball Undesirables, thanks so much for hanging out. Been a pleasure. Glad to have you here. And I will catch you again soon. You know where to find me. Looking forward to getting through these and playing more of these games. Do I have the collection game with Journey Flower and one more? I do not. That is probably one I wouldn't mind having, but I already have those on my system. But I wouldn't mind physically owning it. Alright, so the next 3 are going to be expected. You got Uncharted 1. And these are fantastic games, by the way. They definitely are deserving of the praise. And then probably still holds up as my favorite of the series. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, and then Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Probably the biggest problem with this one is that it followed up Uncharted 2, which was so good. And it's not to say that this one wasn't good. It still had amazing set pieces, and it was still great. But I think the expectation was just somehow the bar was going to be raised beyond 2, and it just wasn't capable of that happening, which is a shame for it. But it doesn't make it any less of a great game. Alright, now the last set of games. Almost done with PS3. Unreal Tournament. 3, I guess you'd say. That'd be the 3 in the background there. But Unreal Tournament. I enjoyed Unreal games. You may have seen me play Unreal 2K4. The thing I liked about this was that it's compatible with inputting a mouse and keyboard. And you could play on the PS3 with a mouse and keyboard, which I thought was fantastic. Unfortunately, that created a situation where I needed to make such a setup to be able to play that way that it was completely inconvenient. And I didn't spend as much time playing this as I wish I could have. Alright, here's one that I haven't really played, but I know is supposed to be really good, and is more of a buy it from the collection standpoint. It'll be Valkyria Chronicles. And then Pinball Undesirables, you missed out on it. But here you go. Here's a fighting game, Virtua Fighter 5. I'm terrible at it. And it's a fighting game. And then, going in line with the fact that I own Yakuza 2, I may as well buy Yakuza 3. And similar to that, of course, I have yet to open it. Alright, well that wraps up my PS3 titles.